Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. This is the Del Valley Sports Pod. This is a Friday. This is episode number 64, and it is 6:30 on Friday, which means we are exactly 48 hours to kickoff. The excruciating 2-week wait is almost over, Dan. How you feeling, buddy? Super Bowl weekend, finally.
I'm feeling good, man. I'm really excited. It's just been, you try not to have that mentality of, I just got to get through the week to get to the weekend. You want to enjoy each day. You want to try and enjoy the week, even if it's little things, That's not happening this week. This is 100 and million%. Just got to get through this week, keep busy, put the head down, because it's all about this weekend, and that is totally acceptable.
Yeah, this week of any week, it's just like, please get me to the weekend. And it usually takes forever. I don't know about you. My week flew by because I was at a conference out in San Diego, which chewed up 4 days. That was awesome. Really happy I got to see where the Loser Fathers played baseball. It was right outside their stadium. It was fun seeing all their gear and memorabilia and all the bars. And I'm like, haha, losers. So
Bunch of bums.
This week went quickly for me. Where do you want to just get right into it? You want to talk about how you're feeling, maybe some things that you've taken notice to over the week? I certainly haven't done a deep dive because I've been away for 4 days, but I know how I feel about the game. I would love to talk about it, but I will let you lead off, sir.
Yeah, I guess before we get right into the predictions, the first thing that I'd like to touch on, I don't know if you have any information on just like injury report stuff to kind of start us off, and then anything else if you saw anything interesting throughout the week, whether it be, I guess, mostly from like the media row or anything like that. But really the injury report stuff, obviously the big names that come to mind are Kenneth Gainwell, Juergens, and Dickerson. Have you heard anything? And right now, as I look stuff up, it looks like I'm seeing articles that are saying Jalen Carter's been dealing with an illness. So, yeah, anything that you know on that side of things?
I don't think I know anything out there that other people don't know. I have seen that Carter is down with a bug, and I'm just hoping it doesn't spread, that he's good by Sunday and it doesn't spread to the rest of the team. But no, I haven't really heard of any updates as far as injury designations. I think everybody's going to be good to go, as far as I know.
I'm seeing that. I know we haven't talked about this, but I had heard this kind of leading up to the Super Bowl that Britton Covey was potentially going to be able to come back, but I'm seeing that he is officially ruled out and will not be coming back for the Super Bowl, which, I mean, is significant. I mean, he was a pretty great punt returner in his time this year, and he's been showing some promise. So he will be out. For what it's worth, it looks like Azuma isn't going to be playing, and he's been getting playing time. But yeah, I mean, everyone else is going to dress up. They're obviously not going to be up front with how Juergens and Dickerson are doing. But it looks like Kenny Gainwell is also gonna play as well, and his is a concussion, so his is more of a, you're not playing injured with a concussion. You're either playing or not playing. With the lineman, it's a different story.
Yeah, the only player of note that seems to be on the injury report is Brandon Graham. So we'll see what happens with him. I don't think we're going to find out until closer to game time. I hope he plays. One, for his sake, and two, because I just think he's a valuable part of this team, both as a morale leader, and he's better than Bryce Huff as far as I'm concerned. I think if he's out there, he gives you more valuable stats than Bryce Huff would.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great for him to be able to suit up, even if he only plays a handful of snaps. This is in all likelihood his last game ever, so it would be great for him to be able to suit up. If he can play some meaningful football, that would be amazing. Who knows? Because he's ahead of the timeline for the most part. So who knows? We'll see. I guess it gives you confidence that this defensive line has really taken a step in the right direction with the absence of him. So yeah, it would be better to have him as an option to be out there. But it was really great to see how when he went down, Nolan Smith stepped it up. Essentially, is kind of the storyline there. So the more the more guys you have at that defensive line position, man, the better off you are, because the fresher they are when they're pass rushing out there. Oh man, same old linemen are out there all drive long. If you can get some fresh D line and pass rushers, that is a huge win for the Eagles. And, been there, done that kind of guy as far as the Super Bowl goes, which is always nice to have that veteran presence. And then as far as the Chief injuries go, they got like nothing. They got a pretty good healthy slate as far as guys that have been playing. Guys have been on the injury reserve for a while now, and they have some of those, but for the most part, they're going into this game pretty healthy, it seems.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth with BG. We saw it in 2017. The more rotational pieces you can get on a defensive lineman, the fresher they are, the better they are in the fourth quarter to get after somebody who is as elusive and scary as Patrick Mahomes. And sorry, what was the second thing that you were mentioning there? Oh, yeah, health. Sorry. It seems that the Eagles and the Chiefs were two of the healthiest teams all year. We saw the Lions, who were as scary as any team we've seen in a while, especially on offense, just decimated by injuries. They didn't get to reach their full potential because of that, but that's the way the NFL goes. It always is. The healthiest teams seem to last the longest. And I'm glad that we do have two teams who are at their full potential going against each other on Sunday.
Yes, sir.
The one thing that I have gathered from, I guess, national media across along the week is that everybody has this but mentality where it's like, yeah, the Eagles are really good at all of these positions, but it's Patrick Mahomes, but it's Andy Reid, and but it's Travis Kelce. And yes, I get it that those are intangibles, and these are players, a threesome that has won 3 Super Bowls and is going for 4 in 6 years, I believe. I just still feel very confident. I'm more confident now than I was after the Commanders game, more confident than I was going into the Rams game, going into the Packers game. I've seen everything I need to believe that this team has exactly what it takes to win a Super Bowl. And I don't care that it's Patrick Mahomes or it's Andy Reid, because they're not as good from 1 to 62. 1 to 53. And ultimately, it's the players that are in the game that win it. And Patrick Mahomes, yes, he makes up for a lot of deficiencies on the offense and can completely change how the game goes. I just don't see him being able to completely make up for the fact that the Eagles roster is just so much better than the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, but I'll be honest. I'll play devil's advocate here. Is that I don't discredit, or I don't know, I don't disagree with any of the buts, because why are people saying but? Dude, look at the stats. It's unprecedented what the Chiefs are doing. They've won 9 playoff games in a row, dude. And if you remember the team they had last year, like, they have won with teams that don't look that great. I mean, I think about the team last year and the lack of receivers they've had. Basically, after Tyreek Hill, that team just never really put any good receivers back out there. Who were the top receivers on that team last year, apart from, if you take Kelce out of the equation? I mean, you had Sky Moore running routes out there. Just a bunch of bums for the most part. Like, just no big threat at all. And you thought that once Tyreek Hill was taken out of the equation and that deep threat wasn't there anymore to the same degree, memory wants to tell me that MVS dropping balls left and right last year.
Yes,
and he was horrible
right
with them for the most part. I can't remember exactly the Super Bowl, but MVS stunk. So that team last year, I didn't think was a great roster, and I didn't think they had the best roster in the Super Bowl, but they still won it. And you got all these stats. So to me, when I look at this game, the Chiefs have the top head coach, the top quarterback in the league. They have a lot of consistency with personnel and coaches, and they have all of the history and all of the stats. The Eagles feel like they have a little bit of that, but none of it can compare to the Chiefs, right? But they have all this like good karma stuff going on, right? So the Chiefs have the how many was it? 9 playoff wins in a row. I was watching a bunch of stuff yesterday. Take this how you will, because I'm trying to remember all the numbers off the top of my head. But I thought I heard some crazy stat that in playoff games that are one-score games, the Chiefs have just won like over 10 in a row. I want to say like 17 of those they've won. It just they're so good in one-score games. We talked about 7 out of 7 for Patrick Mahomes in games where he has the ball at the end of the game and he needs to tie it or win it. Like all of these stats validate the yeah but thing, right? The karma side of it is weird with the Eagles. Saquon Barkley having a career year, the last person to do this. I think Barkley's 30 yards away from having the most rushing yards in a season if you include the postseason. The last guy, so the guy he is trying to pass is Terrell Davis. And Terrell Davis won the Super Bowl that year, right? So you got that thing. You got it Saquon Barkley's birthday thing, and it's the first time it's ever been on February 9th. You got the parallelism between the Patriots and the Eagles' first time going up against that dynasty. They lost, and then the next time they won. It's just you got a lot of weird like karma things that are going on for the Eagles. But as far as the stats go, of course, it's you're not going to count out the Chiefs. You just can't do it. Their roster, I didn't think, was that phenomenal last year, and they still won it all.
No, I agree with you in that the Niners may have had a better roster than the Chiefs did last year, but I think this is the best team the Chiefs will have faced in a Super Bowl period in the Patrick Mahomes era. Even the team that Brady on the Bucs beat them. This team is better than that team. And I think the Chiefs were more highly loaded back then in 2020 during that Super Bowl. I can't put it into words. I know all of the stats about Mahomes and Andy Reid and this whole dynasty that is approaching us is crazy. But something in my gut is just telling me like this Eagles team is so much better. And I think one of the things that brings me confidence is the shakiness of the offensive line of the Chiefs. Now, Joe Thuney, who started at guard, I believe, and had to move out to left tackle, has shored up a couple of things. But
Pretty
now
amazing
they have –
that he
sorry?
can do that. Pretty amazing. What a stud.
Yeah.
To be able to go from left guard to left tackle is a pretty big transition.
Yeah, and now they have – is it Morris? I think it's Wanye Morris is their starting right guard now. Or no, sorry. Trey Smith.
Yeah, Trey Smith.
Yeah. Trey Smith, who's just a mountain of a human. He's 6'6", 320.
Good football player.
Yeah, he is, but he's also new, at least to their offense. He hasn't played much on their team this year after that Thuney switch. And every little piece of film I've seen on Jalen Carter and what he was able to do against all three of their opponents in the playoffs thus far, I don't think that man can be stopped. I think we obviously talk about it. Everybody talks about it. The game is won in the trenches. And I just think the Eagles have a better offensive line than the Chiefs do defensive line. And I think we have a better defensive line than their offensive line. They are going to get Mahomes off of his spot. I think he's going to make some plays. He's going to scramble, which he always does. I saw a stat that on his quarterback scrambles, he's averaging like 8.8 yards in the playoffs, which are complete daggers when he can, if it's 3rd and 8 and he picks up 9 yards, another first down, those are drive killers for a defense. But I also don't think that they've played a defense as good as the Eagles have, especially when Zach Bond is playing as well as he is. I would have loved to see this team with Nakobe Dean at, completely full strength. If that was the case, I don't think this would even be a game. if they had both of those guys in there.
Yeah, it's a shame because I'd love to see Dean, and I do worry about Burks. I really worry about Burks just because Andy Reid is a very, very smart coach, and he's going to draw up plays that are going to exploit our weaknesses. He's very good at it, so I do worry about that. And also, yeah, Dean has had such a good year. It's a shame he doesn't get to participate here in the big game, the big Super Bowl. The other guy on the Chiefs' offensive line, I think a lot of people would consider him, if not the best, close to one of the best centers in football. Creed Humphrey is pretty phenomenal at the center position for the Chiefs, so I'm sure he will be looking to help out a lot with Jalen Carter.
Yeah, but we've seen it. When Jalen Carter gets double teams, that opens up Jordan Davis and Milton Williams, Moro Jomo. Also lets the ends go one-on-one and take tackles outside wide. The one trend I saw, I forget who was breaking this down, but the Chiefs ran 2 phantom motions when they played last in the Super Bowl, where somebody went in motion. I think it was Slay, started to run across the field, and then the guy stopped, went back out to the outside, and was wide open. Now, I'm sure that both teams have seen this, and they're going to try to run it. But Vic Fangio, I know he's, 0-8 against Patrick Mahomes.
Horrible.
How many of those? Sorry?
Horrible.
Yeah. But how many of those games were with the Dolphins? Not the Dolphins, the Broncos. So I have to think that Vic Fangio has his team prepared, and he has all year. There's nothing telling me that they haven't broken down every play that the Chiefs have run this year, been planning for what they can do, what they possibly will do. Last year aside, even in 2022, I mean, Jonathan Gannon had a good year, but Vic Fangio is head and shoulders above a defensive coordinator than what Gannon was. So I have faith in that. And if you can limit the Chiefs to, 21, 24 points, I think the Eagles win this game.
Didn't they bring Vic into the building leading up to the Super Bowl? Don't you remember that? They brought some guys in to give input. Wasn't he one of them?
He was, yes. But for some reason, what I read was that he was helping on the offensive side of the ball for like scheming against the Chiefs defense, not to
almost
help
like
the Eagles
scout team type thing.
Yeah, because he'd seen the Chiefs defense and gone against them, that he was breaking down what they did. So he was helping on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know that to be true, but that's what I read.
Hey, Vic, you're 0-8 against the Chiefs. Why don't you come show us how you get shredded every single time? Come scout team. Yeah. You know how to get dominated by him. You do it every time. Come in for a couple weeks and give us a look, will you?
And, well, that might have happened. That might have exactly been what happened. And I kind of want to go back and rewatch the 22 Super Bowl and just, that's the other thing, is that team almost beat the Chiefs. They should have beat the Chiefs if it weren't for 2 defensive touchdowns, Jalen Hurts' terrible fumble, and the fact that the sod was awful. Playing on turf, I think, AstroTurf, that is, absolutely benefits the Eagles because they are a speedy team. They're dominant on the outside when Devontae and AJ can get going. Obviously, when Saquon can hit the hole and start running, nobody's catching him. They're built for speed, and when they're playing indoors, they're undefeated this year when they're playing on artificial turf. So there's that. That bodes well for the Eagles. I don't know, man. I feel so good, and I've tried to listen to the other side, and nothing is quite telling me that there's a reason the Eagles aren't going to win this game. Maybe I'm delusional. Maybe I got green goggles on right now, but I have questioned the Eagles and what they can't do at points throughout the season. And every time, especially when you and I have brought up things, it seems like the very next week they're completely filling in those voids of what they didn't do well the week before. I mean, they've gone 15-1 since week 5, and the only time they lost was when Jalen Hurts got hurt. Tell me a reason why that they can't win this game.
Well, because all the history, man. That's why. I mean, they have the best quarterback in football. and the best coach in football. And when you have that, you can do a lot of things, even if you don't have the best roster. So I'm not saying that I am projecting them to lose, but to say that to just look at the roster and go, we're a better team, so we're going to win, I can't do that. This team has won the last two Super Bowls, and they've won more than just those two. They've been in the Super Bowl. It feels like they've been every year since they got their kind of coaches and quarterback in order. So this team wins a lot of football games. And the Chiefs during the regular season, man, it's not the same team as the Chiefs during the playoffs. They just, I don't know if they are saving things for the playoffs, like plays and such like that. I don't know if it's just hard to get motivated because you go to the Super Bowl every year. So what's a regular season game? But I think it's undeniable that this team looks and plays so much different and better in the playoffs on both sides of the ball. And they have coaches that are really intelligent coaches and that have been there, done that. So I think it's going to be a battle, not just on the field, but I think the coaching staff has a big challenge in front of them. And this is a huge game for freaking Kellen Moore, man. And he's been seemingly really, really good at kind of making adjustments and then coming out in the second half. And sometimes the offense looks completely different, usually trending in a positive direction. There's no doubt in my mind we're going to need that. We're going to need the coaches to be great, not just the players. But I do believe the coaches are going to need to be great. And they're going to need to be aggressive, Colin, because all of these stats are when games are close with the Chiefs, who wins the game. When it's a one-score game, when it's close, who wins?
Yeah, the Chiefs always seem to pull it out when crunch time is upon them.
The Chiefs. And what happened last game against the Bills? The Bills were up by 1 point. They had the ball on offense with the chance to kind of drive and extend the lead, and they got so freaking soft. Couldn't get a 1 yard gain, just like refused to throw the ball down the field. They just kind of set up camp and rested on the laurel of, we got a 1 point lead. Let's just be super, super careful here. I really don't think that's how we're going to win this game, man. I think that we have to, if we're going to win this game, I think it's either going to have to be the last offense, we get the last offensive possession, or late in the game we're up 2 scores. But I do think that we can't just play safe and win this game, because that clearly does not work out against the Chiefs. Look at all this. You can't play safe against a quarterback that's 7 for 7 in crunch time. You have to go for the win, which I'm confident that is how they're going to coach this game and play this game, because that was how it was against Washington, and that's kind of been the theme for, I would say, most of the year and most of Nick Sirianni's career. I would say when he has to make the big time decision, he usually opts to kind of go the more aggressive route. But there's a lot on the coaches in this game, man, I would say.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot on the coaches. And one thing that I have been happy to see is, earlier in the season, the Eagles were getting off to slow starts. They didn't score a touchdown on their opening drive until week 8 or something. But as it's gotten later in the season, the offense has gotten better and better to start the games. Now, a lot of that is Saquon Barkley, especially last game where he just goes for 60 on the first play. But I think their ability to start faster is going to help them. Now, if they get off to a slow start, that's going to put them in a bad spot. I think this game is going to be won by the Eagles in the best way possible. If they start fast and they keep going fast and they make Mahomes beat them with his arms, because they don't have the same caliber of wide receivers that they've had in the past. I mean, there's no Tyreek Hill. Xavier Worthy is a great option. Travis Kelce is obviously always going to be a Hall of Fame tight end. And, Zach Ertz did kind of...
We've struggled against tight ends. Even Higbee with the Rams had a really solid game against us.
I think the only way the Eagles lose this game is if Travis Kelce absolutely goes berserk and Patrick Mahomes plays like a superstar, even higher than his ceiling has. I just think the Eagles offense is going to put them in front, and the Eagles are going to be able to pin their ears back on defense and get after him. That's just the way I see it. Nobody's been able to stop Saquon Barkley, And if they try to stop Saquon, we've seen it that the wide receivers are going to get open. So if the Eagles start fast, I don't think the Chiefs will be able to match the firepower that they have. And if they do start slow, it's extremely incumbent on Kellen Moore to fix his game plan early and not just wait until halftime. Because if they're starting slow and they wait till halftime to make adjustments, then it might be too late.
The Chiefs are can be really good at getting the ball out very quickly.
Yes.
So I'm not super worried about the deep plays, or maybe not even the intermediate, but I do think that they're going to use Kelsey. I think Kelsey's going to have a good game. I think they're going to use him. I think they're going to use Worthy in a lot of like unconventional ways for a wide receiver. Just going to try to find ways to get him the ball, get him in space, and that might be jet sweeps. That might be kind of behind the line of scrimmage stuff. But I think that they are going to do a lot of short stuff. They haven't really had a ton of success in these playoffs passing the ball to their running backs, but I could see them utilizing their running backs a lot. You just think of the targets when you're trying to get rid of the ball really fast and also trying to exploit maybe the deficiency at linebacker with Burks. So that's kind of my prediction, is that they're going to do a lot of like maybe screen stuff and kind of this bubble screens, jet sweeps, and just silly stuff behind the line of scrimmage. I don't think that they're going to rely on, all right, sit in the pocket for 3 to 5 seconds and then chuck it down deep to Hopkins. I think it's going to be an interesting offense. So that would be probably their best counter to our defensive line. And then on the other side of the ball, you're right, our offensive line has been awesome against the run, but they have struggled in the pass block, specifically with picking up blitzes. They really have struggled with picking up blitzes. So I'm thinking that Barkley will be utilized a lot. If they blitz a lot, I think he'll be utilized a lot in helping to pick up an extra man that seeps in. But the Eagles are not so great at getting rid of the ball super, super quick. So that offensive line is going to have to be on point as far as the pass blocking goes. Because, yeah, it'd be nice if we could just run the ball every play and Barkley run for 300 yards, but we're going to need to have some diversity on offense. And the Chiefs, I think it's according to PFF, by the way, best tackling team in football. So some of these big runs by Barkley, it's phenomenal effort, but usually there's like one guy that made a pretty pathetic effort at tackle, or that just didn't make a good tackle. The Chiefs are known for their tackling abilities, so look for it to be not as many mistakes as maybe some of the other defenses we've played, and just to be a physical game, kind of like our defense, kind of swarm to the ball. They do a good job of making tackles and just swarming to the ball.
Yeah, there's no doubt that the Chiefs have a solid defense. I did not know that tackling stat, so that's somewhat alarming, I guess. And also the fact that Steve Spagnuolo is in the conversation with one of the best defensive coordinators of all time. And he's obviously familiar with the Eagles and what they do. But the Eagles beat the Chiefs last year. So I feel pretty good. Wait, did they? Or
yeah, remember that was the clip, the freaking stupid clip of Nick Sirianni. Don't hear you. I don't hear you now. I don't hear you now. They beat you in the Super Bowl, you schmuck. This is a regular season game. Freaking that was that was before he shaved his head.
Yeah, that was 2023 Nick Sirianni, and 2024 second half season Nick Sirianni. It's been way better than that one that we saw last year. I think the Achilles heel of the Eagles is going to be Jalen Hurts' ability to hit accurate throws, and especially quick ones at that. I guess it goes hand in hand with Kellen Moore scheming AJ or Devontae to get them open early, or Dallas get him on a crossing route and coming through with elaborate wide receiver route trees and schemes. But if Jalen Hurts throws the ball the way he did against Washington, there's no way they lose this game. That's the way I feel. Like, if he can throw the ball like he did on 4th and 5 and just toss it right in the breadbasket on a we gotta have it play right now, then the Eagles are winning this game. Now, if he misses crucial throws, if they're up, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, and they need it, and he misses a throw, then there's going to be a lot of talk if that leads to an Eagles loss. So I think the Eagles go as far as Jalen Hurts goes, because you're right. Saquon's not going to run for 300 yards. He's just not. I think he's going to go over 100 yards, but he's not going to win the game the same way he did against the Rams or the Commanders, where he just steps on their throat in the first drive of the game.
I do think he can break a big one, and I want it so bad. It will
be
the best. It will be
I think
the best.
he can. I think he can. When's the last game he hasn't? I mean, he had one against...
It's been a long time. It's been a while, man.
I mean, he had one against the Packers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna confirm that for us, but I that's what I'm thinking. Like every
Packers
game in the playoffs.
The Packers game feels like it was 2 months ago. This playoff run is just, and especially the last 2 weeks. I mean, you go 2 weeks without watching football. I feel like I've forgotten everything I watched for the last, 6 months.
Packers game, he had oh no, he didn't. He just had a really good game. His long was 17. He had 119 yards on 25 carries. Actually, I thought he broke a big one in that one, but no. So it's been since the Rams. The Rams, he did it, what, two
Twice
times?
Again.
And they did it against Washington. So
yeah, but he has a propensity to do that. And there was another stat I saw, and the numbers are completely it's definitely not accurate, but on Saquon's touchdown runs, I'm pretty sure he's averaging like 34 yards per carry on his touchdown runs because he's broken so many big ones, which is an absolutely absurd stat. Yeah, as Iceman says, it sure feels like he's been doing it every game at this point.
Yeah.
And that's why I didn't remember that he didn't break one against the Packers, but you've seen all these highlight clips of Saquon Barkley all year. He's just like, oh, there goes another 50-yard touchdown. I feel like there's been more games than there haven't been where Saquon has a long touchdown. I mean, even the Ravens game, I know this because it was part of that parlay that I lost my mind on. He ran for 25 yards in the third quarter to put the game out of it. It wasn't a long run, but it was long enough that it completely changed the field when that game was extremely in question. And third quarter, he runs for 25 yards, breaks like 4 tackles, and scores a touchdown. I hope to God he breaks one long. I will lose my mind. I'm not going to have a voice. I'm not going to have a voice on Monday regardless.
Be a great moment. Another highlight reel. Another highlight to the reel.
I want to see him do the ode to Penn State, the batting of the lion's ears over the head, if you will.
Well, you really want him to do 2 because the first one he'll do something really fun, but then if he has a second breakaway, he gets even crazier. He gets even sillier, really. So that would be amazing if he had just a.
If Saquon has one touchdown of over 40 yards, they win the game. If he has 2 over 40 yards, they're blowing him out. That's my prediction. I'm throwing that down right now.
See, I would say 2. If he has 2, they win the game. I mean, because I think of the Washington game, and after his big run, Washington still kept battling back and keeping it close after his giant run. Well, maybe I'm thinking of the second touchdown because obviously the first one was, I don't know. I know what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the Rams game when late in the game he had a big run and it was like, oh, this game is over. And then it surely was not over.
No.
So honestly, I think 2. I'll hang my hat on 2.
Okay. That's fine.
One last comparison. And this is a clear Chiefs win this category, and we've been saying it for a while. I don't know, Jim. I hope that this does not.
Tony Romo. Oh,
I don't know. Compare the kickers. Harrison Butker, in his career in the postseason, he is 6 for 7 on 50-plus yard field goals. He is clutch. This is a dome. easy. He's doing this, most of these games are probably in Kansas City, if we're being honest, because they got a lot of home playoff games. But 6 for 7 with a long of 57, which he had in the 2023 season. So that would be last season. But yeah, versus Jake Elliott, who, as far as career playoff games, he's 1 for 2 in 50-plus yard field goals. He's actually 6 for 6 in 40 to 49-yard field goals. So his postseason stats are actually remarkable. In total, he's 22 for 23 in the postseason, which is amazing. But this year is such an outlier year for him. I would say every other year we've seen Jake Elliott, it's been a smooth operation, right? He's not been a guy that's super hot, super cold. So I'm more inclined to read into the Butker postseason stats than Jake Elliott, just because his year as a whole has been really rough. So I am, that's a little bit concerning. If they can get a field goal from easily from 55 yards out, 55 yards, that changes the dynamic in the game as well.
You said he was 22 of 23. Is that right?
Jake Elliott postseason, 22 for 23.
So his only miss was last game because he missed that.
You're right. Yep, that's what I got, and it was a 50-plus yarder. That, which I think was a 53, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
which it shouldn't have been. We took another freaking sack on a 3rd down, and it pushed us all the way back. Could have had a perfect postseason record. Damn it. That's another thing we can't do. No sacks to push us out of field goal range, please.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts he's gonna get sacked, but yes, please just not be on a consequential down to put him out of field goal range. That would be an absolute killer because every point is going to be crucial. Oh
wow,
man,
Colin,
Dan,
the first ever postseason missed kick for Jake Elliott was last game. Of course, it happened this year. That we could have saw that coming. Yeah. Wow, that's a shame. That would have been a really cool. Oh well. Still pretty good,
but you're right. This is a completely different Jake Elliott this year than the Jake Elliott of years past, and you could say that for Justin Tucker and a handful of others. Dan, I don't know, man. In talking about this with you, I'm almost getting more nervous. I was on cloud 9 thinking it was not a shoe-in, but I felt like it was going to be a comfortable game. And we can get to predictions if you want to. I'm ready.
Yeah, you want to start us off?
Yeah, I would like to. I'm going to throw down my game scenario right now. I think the Eagles are going to come out hot. Touchdown on the first drive, hold Kansas City to a field goal. They're going to get up maybe 17-7 first quarter. I'm thinking maybe 17-14 at halftime. I think the Eagles are going to pull away in the second half. I've been saying it for a while. I'm thinking 34-23. I don't think that Patrick Mahomes is going to have that moment in the fourth quarter where he's down one score. I think they're going to be ahead by, 14 points or so, and that he might lead them on a drive and have a chance to get them close in the fourth quarter. But everything I've seen from this Eagles team, especially in the postseason, whenever they're countered with something, they counter right back. Whatever's thrown their way, they have an answer for. It's like Hercules, man. I love that movie. Everything you throw his way, whether it's the Hydra, whether it's the River Guardian, you can't beat him, man, because he's just too damn strong. Okay? He's going the distance. We're going to find out where we belong, and that's back on Broad Street again. I'm saying it right now with my chest. The Eagles are winning Super Bowl 59, second in team history, and I can't wait to go to a damn parade again. That's where I stand.
I like that.
I'm fired up.
I'm fired up too, man. I'm fired up too. I'm trying to hold back. The
videos you posted today on your Snapchat had me really going.
There's so many.
There were so many. For those that don't know, the last time the Eagles won the Super Bowl, Dan and I were at the Eagles bar in Pittsburgh, pretty much where this all started. And I was an absolute lunatic because I was stress drinking from like 11 a.m. onward to the point where I'm jumping on tables and chairs, running the Eagles chant, absolutely out of my mind. And
more or
then
less
Dan,
on the bar, just leading the bar in the Eagles fight song is an unbelievable environment.
and
When
then
I'm going
Dan's
to
being interviewed by KDKA, CBS
KDKA.
2 News on Super Bowl Sunday. Was that, I'm curious, and I want to kind of talk about it here. Was that pregame? Was that during the game? Where was that?
It was
Really?
halftime. Yeah, so juices were flowing. And anyone that doesn't know me, you got the beer in hand, which is always like, you got to be careful when that beer's in hand and you're acting silly because people are going to connect their dots or whatever. I'm telling you right now, at that point in time, honestly, for most of the night, because I was kind of doing the opposite. I think I was like, I probably should have drank more because I was so stressed out. But I was pretty sober at that point still, but I was not at the same time. I was, as all of us were, just on cloud nine, super anxious, just juiced, all the emotions just flooding through. And at halftime, they interview me, and I kind of look like maybe I've been drinking a lot, but you just don't. That feeling, man, it's just like when you're watching your team in the Super Bowl and how much is on the line and how you're feeling. It's just an adrenaline, and it lasts like 4 hours. It's crazy. And halftime, it's like you get a second for everything to just sink in, and you think about like, all right, how we doing? Like, what do we got to do different? So yeah, he interviewed at halftime. The big thing I remember, it was really difficult. He was asking me questions behind the big camera, and naturally I kept looking at him, because when you talk to someone, you are supposed to look at their face. That's what the natural instinct is. And I think 3 or 4 different times he's like, look at the camera. Look at the camera. Damn it, boy, look at the camera. But it was pretty fun. It was pretty exciting. We'll see if we make the news on Sunday. We'll see what we can do.
That quick clip that I saw today, which was the first I ever found out about this, just it showed your natural exuberance and your sports acumen, which attracted me as a friend to you. I was like, that's a guy I want to hang out with and watch sports with. And I thought your just body language, you absolutely nailed that interview. Like, yeah, the Eagles are going to take it. Listen to me. I got this. So that was awesome to see.
There's a lot of hand gestures in there, more than I normally do. It was very funny. The non-beer hand was getting very animated.
Yeah.
And on the other side of that, after that interview, I looked over at the bar, saw you just standing on top, just like taking your shirt off and singing the Eagles fight song. And I said, man, I should do a podcast with that guy. I think we should start something here.
Two of the most well-versed individuals of what was going on that day ended up in this fruitful experience, and I'm glad it did. So without further ado, would you like to give your prediction or accounts of how the game is going to go?
Yes. So I feel a little bit different as far as the beginning of the game goes. I think Andy Reid has a long history of being really, really good at drawing up that first drive of the game. So I do think the Chiefs are going to score a touchdown, definitely score points in their first drive. I think they'll come away with a touchdown on their first drive. And if that does happen, I don't think that we should overreact too much to it. Andy Reid is a very smart coach, and he's very good at drawing up that first drive. Even with the Eagles back in the day, I feel like he was very good at that. So I think the Chiefs get points on the board, possibly first. Chiefs go up in the first half. I would say at the end of the first half, I'm kind of thinking it'll be Eagles. They'll get like a field goal at the end of the first half, and they'll be down. I have my total score already. So now if I'm going to say a halftime score, I have to make sure that it like aligns. Whatever. I'm not even going to care. So the Eagles will be up. The Eagles are going to be down like a field goal at the half.
Don't worry, Dan. I was doing the same exact thing you were. I was like, I have the score in my head. Does this game script make sense?
Yeah, I'm just going to play it safe and say down a field goal. I won't give it total. And then I think the Eagles are going to come out and hopefully have a really great second half, and adjustments will be made on both sides. And I got the Eagles at the end of the game here with 31, and the Chiefs with 23. I got Eagles 31, Chiefs 23.
Okay. So we both have the Chiefs being
And
held to
Barkley.
23 points.
Barkley MVP.
For the love of God, please give it to him. He should have
Please.
gotten league MVP. I'm glad Josh Allen got it, but there's no more player that was more valuable to his team than Saquon Barkley was to the Eagles this year.
Yeah, just it's like it felt very much like this guy hasn't won one yet, and we've given it to Lamar. Like honestly, I think Josh Allen. There's an argument that he was the third best there, and then you can argue about Barkley and Lamar, but
you could
Lamar
also argue Joe Burrow, who had an outstanding 100%. Season.
Josh Allen shouldn't have won it, but he's a good guy. Let's give him one. Let's give him, whatever. And then they gave comeback to Burrow because like we really should give this guy something. I just hate it. Like it's such a stupid thing. Oh, I didn't count extra points. No, field goals. Well, I did say field goals. I think.
Well, hey, yeah, Iceman brings it up here. He's like, I got 30-24 to Dan. You forgot about the Jake Elliott missed extra point, which the Eagles are 3-0.
Oh, 30-24. Oh, I thought he was giving me with the stats, the kicking stats.
No,
that's hilarious. That's perfect.
But the thing is that the Eagles are 3-0 when Jake Elliott misses an extra point in playoff games. So
do we celebrate if he misses one?
Maybe. I mean, I'm not going
What a hilarious stat that you just. We're giving you all the good stats today. Say that Eagles are 3-0 in playoff games where Elliott has missed an extra point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Including the last game, I think, right? Yeah, he missed one.
He missed one against the Rams. He missed at least one. He might have missed two. I think he missed two kicks. Yeah, because he didn't miss a field goal until last game. So he must have missed only extra points. I feel like he missed two against the.
Well, that's we were talking about that a couple weeks ago. You're like just tell him it's for 3 points. Don't put blindfolds on him because he's been missing extra points. He's been pretty good on field goals as of late, but the extra points for whatever reason he seems to miss one. So Iceman, good call.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I like that. Great call. Great call.
Yeah, man. We're finally under 2 days until the Super Bowl. Tomorrow is going to be excruciating, but I'll be all right. We got snow coming in, so I'll be busy with work duty tomorrow night. That'll take up a bunch of my stress-filled time. And luckily, no snow on Super Bowl Sunday, which they were calling for. And I was getting really worried that I was going to have to do snow duty on Sunday, but they're not, because God shines on Eagles fans.
There we go.
So, any other things that you want to get off your chest or say before we watch the big game on Sunday?
You know what, man? This is a really fun, exciting time, and I don't want to ramble on here, but just don't let anybody tell you that it's dumb to like sports or to watch sports or to like a team this much. Don't let anyone say it's stupid or a waste of time. It's such a fun camaraderie, family thing. There's so many fun stories that come out all season long, but especially now. I mean, you got the recent incident with the plane crashing in the Philadelphia area, and the story I'm sure you've seen, a lot of people have seen, where the one brother was like shielding his sister and took shrapnel in his head, and he had emergency surgery on his brain, and he woke up and he had two questions, and one was, he's just a kid, right? He goes, "Is my sister okay? Like, did I save my sister? And did the Super Bowl happen yet? Did the Eagles play yet?" You know, and it's just, and I think of my family, and I think about my grandpop, my late grandpop, and how when the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 17-18, he was later on in his years, and he had dementia, and his brain could not do too much, could not remember a whole lot. And somehow, some way, after the Eagles won the Super Bowl, he forgot a lot of the timeline and forgot that the parade had already happened, but there were a number of days, weeks after the Super Bowl, where he would wake up and put on an Eagle shirt and go, "We're going to the parade today, right?" You know, it's crazy that he remembered that the Eagles won the Super Bowl. But it's just, I say all that to say that this is, and some of my most fondest memories were when I got to go that night, the Super Bowl, when they won, and then also the parade and sharing that with the family and all the bonds that come from it. So it's fun. Like, enjoy this. Watch it with the family. Watch it together. Don't watch it alone. Be with your Eagles communities. And this is so great. And don't let anybody tell you it's dumb, because it's amazing, all the fun, joy, and passion. And frankly, this podcast is another example of things that can come from this kind of thing. So it's special. I realize it's just a game, but it just means it's got its roots in a lot of our families, and it's just a bond that we share deeply, sports or not, with a lot of our families and for kind of generations. So it's awesome stuff. Really, really excited for it. Not to get all sentimental on you, but
no, I appreciate it. Sports is something to pass the time sometimes, but football is a little bit different. And in Philadelphia, football is everything. And there's no sport that brings people together like football. I can't say enough that it's literally what brought you and I to be friends. Yes, enjoy this run that we're on, because this doesn't happen all the time. The fact that they're going to a third Super Bowl in 8 years, there's teams that haven't even been to the Super Bowl in the last 25 years, let alone ever. So if you're an Eagles fan and you're listening to this, just remember that this is a special time. Enjoy every second on Sunday. I cannot wait to spend it with Eagles fans across the board. I can't wait to be texting you day long. And hopefully, and I'm pretty confident, I get to see you next week when we have a parade down Broad Street.
Let's get it done, guys. Let's get it done, because I sure would love to spend an entire day celebrating.
I have one song for us on the way out, and it's not the one I saw at your wedding. But it's like, hey, Eagles, here we go. The Eagles are gonna win the Super Bowl. Here we go. And if you don't know what that song is, that's the Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl song, but they haven't been relevant in years.
Here we go.
So to hell with the Steelers. Let's go, Eagles, baby. Dan, enjoy the rest of your weekend. To everybody out there who listened, streamed, watched, we appreciate you. I am so jacked up now. I'm probably not even going to sleep tonight. I'm going to be watching reruns of Super Bowls past and the Waste Management Phoenix Open. We're gonna have a good time.
Hilarious event. Golf, just like the most button up, formal, posh sport around, and then they just randomly have this Phoenix Waste Management Open, and it's just like, all right, everybody, get absolutely trashed and scream all you want. Why is this allowed? So funny to me, dude.
It's a one-off. It's one of those outlier things that,
you get one a year.
You get
one a year.
You get one. Well, there was a hole in one today. Some guy dunked it, and they threw beer all over the course again.
That's awesome, dude. So funny.
Dude, he slam dunked it. It just landed right in the hole. People went absolutely out of their minds.
Was it a no-name guy too?
No, it was. His name's Emiliano Grillo, who has won on tour a few times.
My name is Emiliano Grillo.
Yeah, exactly. I guess to a non-golf fan, you wouldn't know who he is, but if you follow golf, you know who he is. But no, on that note, man, I cannot wait for the Super Bowl. I'm so thankful that we've been able to talk a fun Eagles season all year. Let's bring out our inner excellence. Jalen Hurts, come on. We got this, buddy. Nick Sirianni, keep your head down and don't act like a doofus like you have in the past. I have no doubt that's going to happen, because Big Dom, when Big Dom is on the sidelines, the Eagles play well.
That's good advice. We'll send you out with that. Don't be a doofus, guys. Don't be a doofus. Don't climb poles. Don't do it.
Don't, please.
Stay on your feet. Stay on. Yep. That's my words of advice. Stay on your feet.
Amen to that.
Don't be a doofus and stay on your feet.
And yes, absolutely. Please be safe if the Eagles win. Don't burn the city down. Dan, we've never done this on the podcast, but I would like to. Can we get one? Let's get an EAGLES. Eagles!
Go Birds!
We'll talk to you guys next week, win or lose, but the Eagles are winning the Super Bowl. Let's go.
Let's ride, baby.
Later, Dan.
Go Birds. Go Birds.
Hell yeah.